So enough talk about the interface, and let's get started building our model. So the first thing we want to do is make sure our units are correct. So let's go ahead into the units menu here and change this from meter to millimeters. Now as you can see here, the ruler at the bottom changed, and now we have a scale from 0 to 60 millimeters, and if you were to zoom out with the scroll wheel, you'll see that that changes. So in order to start sketching, we're going to move over to the tree outline menu. You can see here we have three planes to choose from to start sketching, the XY, ZX, and YZ planes. So if I click on this, we have here the green and red arrows lit up for the XY plane. Click on this, we have the ZX plane showing, and finally here the YZ plane. So for our sketch, we're going to be clicking on the XY plane, and we're going to click on this button to look at this face. Once we're looking at this face, we're going to change the mode from the modeling tab to the sketching tab. Now here you can see, I'm just going to scroll down and drag this a little bit to get more space here, but you can see we have multiple toolboxes available for us in order to sketch our 3D model. The first one being the Draw toolbox, where you have some basics as lines, polylines, polygons, rectangles, ovals, circles, etc. We have here the Modify toolbox, where you can create fillets, chamfers, extend your object, cut, copy, paste, etc. The third one is the Dimensions toolbox. So here you can go and set dimensions and constrain your geometry. So there's a general one. There's, if you want a fixed horizontal dimension, a vertical dimension, a radius, diameter. There's also even semi-automatic, which will automatically apply dimensions. After that, we have the constraints. So here is if you want to apply constraints to your sketches. So here you can fix a line in length and in space. You can also fix here to make a line horizontal or fix it to vertical. You can have perpendicular constraints, tangent, symmetry, parallel constraints, etc. And finally, here you have the settings where you can add a grid and add major grid spacing or minor grid spacing. So let's go ahead and turn on the grid and click on Show in 2D, and let's click on the snap. So the snap will basically snap your sketches to this grid. So it's basically easier to build your geometry if you're doing something very simple. If you have something a bit more complicated, you might want to turn off the snap. So let's go now into the Draw toolbox, and let's zoom in our project here. And we're going to start off by drawing a rectangle. So let's click on the rectangle tool right here. And we're going to draw a rectangle that's just anywhere. It doesn't make a difference. We're going to constrain this in later. So we're just going to click on a point here, and we're going to draw this rectangle out. And let's say do something a bit asymmetrical and click End here. So the next step is to add dimensions to this rectangle. So we're going to go ahead over to the Dimensions tab right here on the left under the sketching toolboxes. Once we click on that, we're going to use the semi-automatic function. So let's go and click on that right there. Now as I move my mouse into the graphics window, you will see that I automatically have a dimension ready to be set. And at the bottom we have semi-automatic, click to indicate location for dimension, or use right mouse button for options. So we're going to do exactly that. We're going to click on a location to indicate this dimension. So we're going to click, let's say, right here, and then that will set the first point called L1, which is a length 1 for this side. Next, as you can see, automatically it asks us to add a horizontal dimension. So we're going to go and use the location right here and click left. And then we're going to have to add the spacing between the right side of this box and the center of the origin. So we're going to click right here, and then the final one will be between the bottom and the horizontal line, so we're going to click right here. Now once that's done, we have all our constraints set, and if we move this up a little bit, we can see here that we have 4 dimensions now set. So we have L1, L2, H3, and V4. These are just arbitrary values, arbitrary designations by ANSYS. So what we're going to do is we're going to change these values, and we're going to make this somewhat more symmetrical. So let's first click on L1, and we're going to enter here 200. So put 200 and then hit enter. Now as you can see, this zooms out of our window, so what we're going to do is use this button here called Zoom to Fit. Next, we're going to change L2, click on this right here, and then we're going to click on 200 and then click Enter. And now we're going to space out H3 and V4, and we're going to put 100 for each of these. So 100 for H3, and V4 we're going to click here and we're going to put 100. Click Enter. And now we're going to click on Zoom to Fit again to center our screen. So there you have it. There's our centered rectangle, which is 200 by 200 millimeters.